The last time I stood in the throne chamber of the Xerythian Empire, I was called a traitor. The next time I entered it, I carried their future in my arms. And the guards raised their spears. It began on Earth, in the crowded, restless city of Karachi, where alien invasions were things of cinema screens and conspiracy forums, not lived reality. I used to be a linguist, someone who studied theoretical communication systems. When the Xerythians first appeared in orbit 5 years ago, humanity panicked. Governments scrambled. Militaries mobilized. But the Xerythians didn't attack. They requested dialogue. Their ships hovered like curved shards of silver glass above major cities around the world. A global broadcast transmitted a single repeating signal, structured, patterned, mathematical. That's how I got involved. I was part of the international team tasked with decoding their language. Months passed before we understood even fragments. They were ancient, structured, intensely hierarchical, and they were dying. Their sun was destabilizing. Their genetic diversity had collapsed after millennia of rigid bloodline control. Their ruling monarchy, led by Queen Valora, sought alliance, resources, and possibly asylum. But negotiations failed. Earth's leaders feared colonization. The Xerythians feared extinction. Skirmishes broke out in orbit. A single human missile strike destroyed one of their outer vessels. In retaliation, they disabled Earth's satellite grid for 12 minutes, long enough to show they could do worse. That was when the Queen summoned me directly. The first time I met Queen Valora, I thought she was made of starlight. She stood nearly 8 feet tall, her body slender and angular, skin like liquid silver etched with faint lines of violet light. Her eyes were deep indigo, reflecting not just light, but depth.
Age.
Burden. You comprehend us, she said, her voice resonating not in air, but in thought. I'm trying to, I replied carefully. You are different from your leaders. That's debatable. She studied me with unsettling intensity. We do not seek conquest, she said. We seek survival. And Earth seeks the same. Our worlds need not compete, she said. They can merge. That word again. Merge. Define merge, I said cautiously. Genetic exchange. Cultural interweaving. Shared evolution. I hesitated. You're talking about hybridization. Yes. And if we refuse? She did not answer immediately. Then extinction comes for one of us, she said softly. It wasn't a threat. It was math. The war didn't explode overnight. It simmered. Diplomacy fractured. Mistrust grew. One rogue human fleet attacked a Xerythian outpost near the moon. In response, the Queen authorized a targeted strike on an uninhabited military installation in the Pacific. Escalation became inevitable. But behind the public hostility, something secret was unfolding. The Queen contacted me privately. Our council rejects alliance, she said. They believe your species too chaotic. And you? I asked. I believe chaos births resilience. She revealed something that changed everything. There was a child, a Xerythian child, born not through traditional royal lineage, but through experimental genetic integration using preserved human DNA samples gathered during early diplomatic exchanges. The first successful hybrid. She carries both our species, the Queen said. She may be the bridge. Or the spark for greater war, I replied. She is hidden, the Queen continued. The Council fears her. They see impurity, weakness. And you? I see possibility. Then the unthinkable happened. The Council staged a silent coup. They accused the Queen of betraying pure bloodlines, of risking cultural collapse. In a single night cycle, they seized control of the palace. The Queen disappeared, and the child vanished with her. Officially, they were declared deceased. I knew better. Months later, I received a transmission. Encrypted. Fragmented. Coordinates. When I followed them, I found a small Xerythian escape craft hidden within Saturn's rings. Inside was the Queen, weakened, injured, and in her arms, a child no older than 5 by human standards. She looked at me with luminous violet eyes. Aaron, the Queen whispered telepathically. There is little time. The child clung to her robes, staring at me curiously. This is Lasara, the Queen said. My daughter. The council had branded the child an abomination, a dilution of royal purity. They planned to eradicate all hybrid research and return to isolationist doctrine, even if it meant eventual extinction. You must take her, the Queen said. Take her where? I demanded. To Earth. Protect her. When the time comes, return. And you. I will draw their attention. No, I said firmly. But she placed her hand against my temple. Survival requires sacrifice, she whispered. Before I could argue further, alarms blared through the ship. Council warships had found us. The Queen sealed Lasara into my arms. A blinding flash filled the cabin as she triggered a jump sequence. The last thing I saw was her standing alone before a wall of approaching cruisers. Then space folded. I raised Lasara in secret. Back on Earth, official channels denied any knowledge of surviving Xerythian royalty. The empire itself fractured into militant factions under council rule. Lasara aged differently, slower in some ways, faster in others. By human standards, she looked 8 within 3 years. But her mind was vast. She could process languages in days. She felt electromagnetic fields like gentle breezes. Sometimes lights flickered when she laughed too hard. Will Mother return? She asked often. I don't know. I'd answer honestly. I trained her, not as a weapon, but as a diplomat. She studied human history. War. Peace. Failure. She asked difficult questions. Why do humans fear difference? Why do Xerythians worship bloodlines? Why is survival always violent? I had no perfect answers. Then came the signal. A formal summons from the Xerythian throne world. The council had consolidated power. Their son's instability had accelerated. Extinction timelines shortened, and rumors had begun to spread of a surviving royal heir. The message was simple. Return the child, or face eradication. Lasara stood beside me as I decoded it. I will go, she said calmly. You don't owe them anything, I replied. I owe them a future, she said. In that moment, she sounded exactly like her mother. So we left. The throne chamber hadn't changed. Towering crystalline pillars. A ceiling like a frozen galaxy. But the warmth I once felt in Queen Velora's presence was gone. In her place stood the High Regent, a severe Xerythian elder with jagged light patterns across his skin. When we entered, the guards stepped forward. Spears, long shafts of living energy, rose in unison. They recognized me, the human traitor. Aaron's soul, the regent announced. You return to face judgment. I return, I said evenly, with your future. The guards advanced. Spears aimed at my chest. Lasara stepped forward, and the chamber shifted. The guards froze. Their weapons trembled, not from fear, but from recognition. Her skin shimmered with unmistakable royal markings, patterns identical to Queen Velora's lineage. Gasps rippled through the hall. That is impossible, the regent hissed. Lasara lifted her chin. I am Lasara Veolora Xeryth, she declared, daughter of your queen. The guards lowered their spears halfway, uncertain. The regent's eyes burned bright. She is impure, he snapped. Half blood. Half evolution, I countered. Murmurs spread. Lasara stepped toward the center of the chamber. You fear dilution, she said clearly. But your son is dying. Your bloodlines are collapsing. Isolation has failed you. The regent raised a clawed hand. Silence. But the guards did not raise their spears again. Because they felt it. Lasara's energy signature pulsed through the chamber, not chaotic, but harmonized. Balanced. She extended her hand. A holographic projection flared above us, stellar data streams she had analyzed. If integration protocols begin now, she said, we stabilize our genome within 2 generations. If not, extinction probability reaches 87%. The regent faltered. You speak like a council scientist, he said. I speak like your heir, she replied. Silence fell. Then one guard, an older warrior with scarred luminous patterns, lowered his spear completely and knelt. For the queen, he said quietly. One by one, others followed. The regent stood alone. You would abandon tradition? He demanded. No, Lasara said softly. We would fulfill it. Survival above pride. The chamber doors opened, and through them walked a figure none of us expected. Queen Veilora.
Alive.
Weakened, but alive. Gasps echoed like thunder. She approached slowly. You have seen extinction, she said to the regent. I have seen possibility. Her gaze settled on Lasara. And she is both. The regent dropped to one knee. The guards fully lowered their spears. The rebellion collapsed in a single breath. Days later, Lasara stood beside her mother on the restored throne platform. I stood at the base, not as prisoner, not as negotiator, as witness. A new decree echoed across the empire. Integration would begin, voluntary, cooperative, transparent. Earth would be approached again, not with ultimatums, but with partnership. Lasara glanced down at me. You will return home? She asked later. Do you want me to? I replied. She smiled faintly. I want both worlds to trust each other, she said. And you are trusted in both. Queen Veilora stepped beside her daughter. You carried hope when we could not, she said to me. You defied fear. I just protected a child, I said. And changed an empire, she replied. As I prepared to depart for Earth once more, this time as ambassador rather than fugitive, the memory of that moment replayed in my mind, the guards raising their spears, ready to kill, ready to defend purity, and then freezing when they saw who stood beside me. Not a weapon, not an abomination, but the future. And for the first time in Xerythian history, they chose it.